We'll get going. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Phil Dixon, Chairman of the Board of Architectural Review, and we welcome you to our Board of Architectural Review Board meeting. It's now 6 o'clock on the 13th of August, and I'm glad we were able to reschedule it to get it now instead of waiting until the end of the month. So, but it's time for us to get started. So depending on the size or complexity of a project, each applicant has the opportunity to present a conceptual or master plan for our review prior to committing funds for a full set of plans and drawings. This approval of a concept means that we might agree with the concept while disagreeing with some of the details. It also means that each phase of the project must be submitted at a later date once the plans are more fully developed to obtain the board's final approval for that individual portion of the project. Hopefully, any disagreements will have been worked out before our applicant comes back before the board. Several of the projects being reviewed this evening have been submitted before, and these projects are now ready to be considered for further approval. For those of you who may be new to our meeting, our charge is to look at each project purely on aesthetics, design, architecture, height, mass, and scale, and in harmony with the historic district in the town of Somerville. We look to the overall street scene. Although we are not required to solicit comments from anyone other than the applicant and the board members, except for demolition requests, we usually choose to begin our project review with a public hearing to allow others to express comments that might help influence our decision-making before the applicant has presented the project and the board members have resolved any questions they might have. You were asked to sign up when you first arrived to indicate which project you wish to comment. When called on, please try to limit your comments to approximately 3 minutes. As always, we will review each submittal in the order that it was submitted. However, as a first order of business, we must approve the minutes of our last meeting, which were sent to board members for review prior to this meeting. Are there any changes that need to be made, or do I have a motion to be accepted?
I'll make the motion to accept the minutes as presented.
And I'll second.
Please answer yes or no. Rachel? She's not here. Tim?
Yes.
Nancy Jean?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
And mine is yes. Fine. We're good for last month. We'll now call on those who signed up when they arrived to comment on a project being presented this evening.
So I believe both people who signed the sign-up sheet are applicants, so we will address their comments as we reach their item in the agenda.
Everyone was an applicant? Is that-
Yeah, I just brought it up. Did you want to make a comment? Okay. Then we'll address those as the applications come up.
The first project on the list for tonight is 520 West 2nd South Street.
For 520 West 2nd South Street, they are just requesting the renewal of an expired COA. The project was approved by the BAR in 2022. They haven't made any changes to the design. They are simply requesting renewal. They have applied for the building permit and are just waiting on this COA to be renewed. If the applicant would like to come up.
Good evening.
You got the
Hello.
floor.
So the previous COA was issued and due to some health concerns from the previous builder, we're not able to start construction in time for that COA. So it's just merely a reissuance of the COA with the same existing conditions.
I can go along with that.
Before and nothing has changed.
No, ma'am.
I would make
I don't see
motion
a
to accept
problem.
it.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the,
Second,
Second,
Jim,
yes.
Nancy Jean,
yes.
Jane,
Yes,
and mine is yes.
Thank
I
you.
wish you
Good
well.
luck. Thanks.
The next one is 608 Central Avenue.
The applicant is requesting approval for changes made after the fact. It was approved by the BAR in June 2022. There were a couple changes made in the field. The louver vents, as shown on the approved plans, were not installed, and the brick steps at the rear porch were not installed. The homeowner is operating under a temp CO, and is just requesting that those changes in the field be approved in lieu of the previously approved design.
I think she has some pictures you can show too, I guess. So the elevations, of course, are always conceptual, right? When the house is actually built, things tend to change a little bit. And so what changed was the spacing between the bottom of the front porch and the ground in front. That's I think the main biggest issue. So when we built that, that's the back porch, but yeah, there you go. You can see that the space there in between the piers are very narrow. And so by the time you try to put louvers on there, it's not gonna look good. I thought it just looked better leaving it open. And I didn't even think two thoughts about it when we were doing it until I went to go get my final CO through the town for all the building and structural and permit, stuff. But and then Becca was like, well, it was on the plan, but it's not on site. So I'm like, well, she said she couldn't approve it the way it was because it was on the plan. So we drew it on the plan, but I think it actually looks better, just, leaving it open instead of trying to cram a couple of pieces of framing around and trying to cram like a couple of boards in there to make it louvered or close it up. But that's just my opinion. So, and then on the back steps, the plan does show that there were supposed to be brick steps all the way across the back. But again, conceptually, I really didn't know what to do there. When we were building or drawing the plan out, I just told the guy to put some steps on the back and he put them all the way across the back. I didn't, here when we started building, I thought, well, okay, well, at some point I'm going to do a full landscape plan in the back. And so just so we could pass, permit and everything, we put a set of stairs to the one side. Plus, eventually in the landscape plan, this whole back porch is going to be screened in, and hopefully we'll raise the actual level of the back so that you're not even going to have those steps there anyway. It'll be like one step down on like a raised, like pool deck area or something in the back. So, why put thousands of dollars of putting brick steps all the way across the back when we might not even use them later. So, plus I asked Becca, I said, well, this is on the back of the house, how, and she couldn't prove it because it was on the plan differently. So, if I could have changed two things on the plan before I submitted before, it would have been like, leaving the back steps off and just making it like this, and also leaving the, louvers off. But again, things change when, you're in the field and versus a plan. But I don't know if you guys have a big issue over those things or not. Maybe your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't have a big
The
issue.
building guru does not have any complaints.
Yeah, I mean, the back of the building for me, whatever the missing steps is fine by me on the back. And on the front, it's an elevation issue. I understand the elevation issue. That's probably something going forward we need to make sure we clarify. Like if there's a certain height that we're going to require,
Mhm.
we need to be clear about that going forward, because exactly what happened to you could happen to other people in the future. And I do think those houses looking elevated is a super important detail. So that's just more of just a a note for all of us to think about going forward.
Yeah,
Um,
and
as far as-
Becca had talked to me about that too. She's like, well, and of course she's like, well, you can't change the height of the house or anything now,
Right.
after it's built. But I always, in our first meeting, of course, it was like, a long time ago as well. We had always said it was supposed to be like 24 to 30 inches off the ground.
Right.
And, and that's what the main, in fact, I took some pictures today with the tape measure because I realized after looking at these pictures, she didn't use a tape measure on any of them. So on the, you have like 12 inches of space between the ground and that opening top there. And the overall elevation from the ground to the bottom of the siding is like 27 inches.
Yeah, I understand.
So
I'm curious, what caused the change to go from 24 inches to, little?
I don't know. It's just the way whoever they framed the decking on the porch, and then the guys that did the trim, they ended up using, I guess, a 12-inch board across the band board instead of maybe a 10-inch board. So I guess if we would have done it, we could have used a smaller, across the bottom there, we could have used a narrower board to like open up the space some. I don't know. It's just,
Yeah. I think it accomplishes what we're looking for, which is an elevated house.
Mhm.
And I think the open space, you leaving it open actually still accomplishes that, even though it doesn't show leaving. Now, you might have a problem with your dog going underneath there and getting all dirty. So, yeah.
at least you crawl under, and get into it. Or the snake, that if it
Yeah.
maneuvers,
You might end up with some
something
chicken wire back there or
goes up,
something.
goes up in there and dies, and you got to take things down and like, crawl underneath it.
Yes,
But
yes.
I actually I thought it looked even more old looking
It
because of,
does the way it
does.
is.
and of course Becca has a job to do, but I'm like, Becca,
Yeah, she's,
this house came out way better than I even thought, even on the plan. So I mean, so
she's doing her job.
she was
So-
very technical about it. She's like,
Absolutely.
and so anyway, so I hope you guys don't mind the way it looks.
Yeah, and I love the porch and it's
Thank
really
you.
good.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve it
Okay.
as is.
I'll second.
Please answer for me. Kim,
Yes.
Nancy Jean.
Yes.
Jane,
Yes,
and mine is yes.
Good luck.
Our next project is 112 Salisbury Drive.
The applicant for 112 Salisbury is returning after last month's meeting. The board requested more detailed plans, and the applicant has provided renderings and updated construction details per the board's request. Just to reiterate the former staff report, it is zoning compliant. Impervious surface coverage will be confirmed before the issuance of the permit. It's not visible from the right of way.
Is there someone here from for that project? Spear's yours.
Good evening.
You did.
hello.
Hello again. So this has been an ongoing process. I believe the last meeting was 2 months ago that we reviewed this. Because this rendering did not meet the cutoff date. So this was submitted in last time the board requested more detail on the finish materials. So hopefully this answers everybody's questions. And also I brought the owner with me as well. So
We didn't want those posts just to look like toothpicks across. We wanted something with a better, more interesting base that would be more appropriate for the neighborhood. What say you, Tim?
Can we scroll on through the rest of these? I wasn't here last time. Okay. And this is not visible from the right of way in any place. Okay. All right. mean, I wasn't here last time, so I don't know exactly what you guys said. It's an awkward addition. And be quite honest, it's not really my favorite, but because it's on the back of the house and you can't really see this, I probably don't take issue with it. So
Mhm.
I'm probably just okay with it, even though if it was visible from the street, I would probably vote no, but since it's not, I would support it.
That's good. Mhm. Amen.
And I really just say all that because for future precedents. So that's why I just don't want someone else to say, well, you approved this one. Why'd you approve this? And now I want to do the same thing. But if it's visible from the street, I'm just gonna
Mhm.
look at things differently.
In the back, it's not as uncomfortable.
Right. And it's
Mhm.
also a brick house.
Yeah.
It's a,
Mhm.
ranch house, not a historic house. And so there's just other
Mhm.
factors there too.
Well, I'll make a motion to accept it as presented this time.
Okay.
And I'll second.
Okay.
What else? Yes, no for me? Jim,
Yes.
Nancy Jean,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes, yes.
and mine is yes. So
Thank you.
All right. Good luck, guys.
Finally.
our next project is 309 West Richardson.
So this project is just a front door replacement. From the looks of it, it seems to be perfectly in line with the historic district guidelines, but since it's a change in design, technically, it does require BAR approval.
I'm just here in case y'all want to see a picture of the door from Lowe's that I picked out.
I do have one
Good.
available here in the packet as well.
Yep, there you go. Okay.
So one of the main differences is the number of panes.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
The other one is,
The-
And is this a fiberglass door or metal door? What is this?
This is fiberglass that I want to put in. The wooden door, I didn't realize that you're supposed to do something to a door every 10 years or so. And it's warped and it hadn't locked in 5 years. And it hadn't closed in 4 years.
Makes a difference.
So I'm gonna get a door that I can lock and secure.
What's the historic significance of this house? What's it rated?
I believe it's rated 4. Let me,
It's
Take a
It's
look.
an
for-
awesome historic house.
Yeah.
yep, supportive.
All right. Well, I'm probably not gonna be your favorite fan tonight, because I feel like on a house that's historic and is rated 4 or higher, that it's important that we don't cheapen, that's the wrong word, that we don't change the nature of the house with fiberglass and metal doors. And so I would not support this because of the change in style, but also because of the change in product. And on a new house, I know I get it. I'm a builder. I know wood stinks these days and it's terrible. It moves around, but the historic fabric of the house is often dictated, especially by the front door. And the front door not being true to the nature of the house is like putting hardy siding on the same house.
Mm.
So I wouldn't support it.
So that means I would need to get a custom door, wooden door.
Well, that's, my other fellow members might vote differently. So that's just one opinion. So I'll let them.
Is it not a normal size door? You would have to have a custom door?
They don't have anything at Lowe's. I don't know. I didn't go to Berlin G. Myers. When I got the siding on after Hugo, I had to get wood milled at Berlin G. Myers and stuff.
Yeah.
So it is a little taller. It's a 38-inch right swing, I think. And so instead of having the panels this way, these panels, I thought it looked very similar, and it'll be painted to, with the rest of the house. Probably the worst part about it is the window, the mullions and the glass. I mean, it's just not, it's not the same, but
I'm having a hard time turning down that door.
so you haven't installed the door yet?
no, ma'am. I haven't ordered it.
Oh, you haven't ordered it either?
Okay,
Okay.
good.
No,
Okay.
y'all decide what you want, and that's
And-
fine.
Is there a
You see
photo of the
picture
front of the
of
house?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Do we have an overall picture?
This is all.
That's all you got? All
Oh,
right.
Yeah,
What
I
else
tend
do you
to
need?
Agree with you.
I was just wanting for an overall picture of the house.
Yeah.
oh,
I
I'm sorry. It's
It's
just
a
a
beautiful
little-
house. Yeah.
it's just a little Cottage.
It's a quintessential Somerville cottage. It's a
Mhm.
beautiful little house. Yeah.
And are you replacing the screen door as well, or just the front door?
Taking it to maybe when I went to see Becca, I forgot to mention that I would like a storm door, a glass storm door, so that I could open the door and have glass. Yeah, that screen door is horrible, and I need to take it down. It's needed to come down for years.
I like it.
It just, cats get up in it and you jump
Yeah.
down the screen. I mean, cats that aren't even mine, so
Okay.
it's ripped up and I haven't kept it up, but
Yeah, I tend to agree with Tim on the material.
so
That's-
I've seen other houses in this style on West Carolina that they actually got windows replaced and they were the vinyl windows. And I need to replace the windows in this house, but I put it off because I want wooden windows with
Mhm,
wooden mullions and,
mhm.
but, does it have to do with it being on Richardson as opposed to a back street?
Mine is really just the historic rating because it's a significant contributor to the neighborhood, and because it's wood, I just feel like it needs to stay there, especially the front doors where everybody touches and feels when you come to the house. And, you know, I'm just my opinion. But
I've got a front door that is wooden and with glass like an oval. And it was built in 1987. And we've done nothing to that door except paint it every 10 years. I mean,
I'm afraid I guess I mean, the house needs to be painted on the outside. It's buckling all on the inside and the outside. And it's tilted and it's just, I mean, I've painted it on the inside, but it's buckled all up.
hmm,
So I guess that's.
there's some other places other than Berlin G you can go as well. So Southern Lumber would be one, Buck Lumber would be another one. So any of those local places like that would have access to something, a real wood door for you. Even though at Lowe's, you may not be able to get that.
So that's it. So that's it. If I get,
I would like not to
not to
do
vote.
a final vote on it. Can we take it as a, uh, what's the word? Just as the first time you put it in, and we'll wait, let you go back now and look and come back next month.
so I don't need to pay another $50 to come before the bar.
No, ma'am, you wouldn't need.
No,
to.
you wouldn't have to. That's right.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
I didn't know you had to pay $50.
What's the deadline for next month?
The deadline for next month has passed. It was last Friday.
So,
So
because this is a continuance, will I be on the agenda for next month?
I'll have to discuss it with Becca, but I can let you know for sure tomorrow.
let me ask you this. If she replaces it with a wood door that has the same light pattern, she doesn't have to come back to us.
If it's replaced in kind, we can approve it at a staff level.
Right. So as long as you match the panel configurations, you wouldn't have to come back.
3 panels
Mhm.
And then the 6 lights above.
Okay.
All right. Thank
Thank
you. I'm
you.
sorry. Thanks for your understanding. Guys.
Our next project is 803 South Main Street.
So the applicants for 803 South Main are requesting to replace the existing picket fence in the backyard with a privacy fence that would extend the length of the rear yard and then also along Joyce Lane. The fence is zoning compliant. but requires BAR approval for privacy fence on a corner lot. I know it's typical that the BAR would request that the privacy fence step down as it approaches the street, but it will be an extension of an existing fence that's already, I believe it's 8 feet tall, 7 feet tall, an extension of an existing portion of fence that's already that height.
Is it, go ahead.
Yeah, kind of step us through it real quick.
It's easier when you can see the pictures. Yes, so that's the privacy fence we have now.
Could you pick up the microphone a little bit? I cannot hear. Thank you.
Sure. Hi, is this better?
Mhm.
This is the privacy fence we have now along the back side of our property. Which we love. It provides us a lot of privacy. But on the Joyce Lane side, we have a beautiful scallop picket fence, which provides us 0 privacy. So we have a lot of honking and waving from friends and strangers when we're by our pool. That brown fence there is not our fence. That's our neighbor's fence, Miss Little, who let us kind of just tie our picket fence into hers. And so what we would like to do, I think we actually proposed 6 feet on our proposal, a 6-foot fence. We would like just to tie into that and take the white one down and just continue on with our privacy fence that we have, the same design. So it would just sort of continue with what we have.
Is it on a corner? Is the house on a corner?
I'm sorry?
Is the house on a corner?
Yes, it is. It's on the
Yeah.
corner of South Main and Joyce Lane. So we're right next to the old Rawlings School of the Arts building.
Mhm. Can people see around it? What I can't see here is to see whether if somebody is coming out of the street, can they see around that privacy fence, or does it have to be taken down a little bit
The
for
house
a
is,
driver to be able to see around it?
the house is set back off of Main Street because we're right there where the entrance, you remember the old entrance into the Rawlings parking lot?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So you've got Main Street, you have the entrance in the Rawlings parking lot, and then our house is there with the corner. So we're well off of Main Street and there shouldn't be any traffic disturbance.
So your privacy fence is really not up there on the corner of,
Correct.
okay,
Yes, ma'am.
that's,
Correct.
that makes it clearer.
And is there a photo of the front of the house? Anywhere?
I don't believe there's a picture of the front of the house in this.
I think there is. Thought I did.
It doesn't look like we have one in the packet here.
I can show you one if you want.
Yeah.
Is it possible? Can you go to Google Maps
Yeah.
and drop us up
Like this.
on Joyce Lane?
There was a view from above.
Yes, and I've got pulled up here, but I just can't see.
It's a tough spot though, because like that's the entrance into the old Rawlings
Uh-huh.
and that's Main Street out there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually like the front corner and it's really not the most. The fence is way back over
Back
here.
there. So it's not going to obstruct the view of a car
No.
turning.
no. So the front
The property.
So
will actually only come to the.
Oh, there it
back
is.
side of
Okay.
the house.
Can I say something too, please?
Oh.
Back to that photo that was just up there. It's gone now.
Where'd it go? Disappeared. Cyber attack.
So
Ah.
the.
Okay.
the
can you kind
front
of go
piece-
down that to the driveway and then turn it?
Back to the house.
Yeah, and then back to the house. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
So you're coming in at the garage there.
correct. The
Okay.
whole front fence is not going to be disturbed.
Right.
Okay.
We have two
Gotcha.
white picket fence sections. We have the whole side. Then that's not going to be touched.
Okay.
The fence is what we would take down, the white
Yeah.
section in the back. And that would be replaced with the brown to match what's back there,
And so
providing
all the-
privacy by the pool.
Okay, and all the white picket fence in front will stay?
Correct.
Okay,
Definitely
Yes.
privacy for the pool.
Yes, this is just for the pool in the backyard.
Mhm.
This is only for
Mhm.
the backyard behind the garage that you see.
Okay.
And just one last request, would you take it all the way to, so we see the neighbor's house behind theirs? Yeah, right there. So what's going on there? So there's, and that's I'm assuming that is a neighbor now. That's an occupied house. I'm assuming
That's our neighbor's house,
that's
correct?
neighbor's house. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're kind of, there's a big easement there. So you're kind of set way back from the fence perspective.
It does.
I always feel bad for a neighbor who all of a sudden has a big fence stuck out, kind of blocking his view down the street.
And that boat shed is gone. That's not there anymore.
No, I'm sorry, what's that?
That big ugly boat shed is gone, so that's not there anymore
Okay,
in the picture. Not that it matters, but
oh,
right.
just thought I'd
gotcha.
mention that.
Yeah, this doesn't seem to really fit the normal corner.
No, it doesn't.
No,
It doesn't.
happily,
I agree.
happily, you don't have to deal with that. With having to have a fence go lower so that a car can see around it, to go on, go around the corner and go onto Main Street. Your house, your property is there, but the house and the fence is not way up there on that corner. So that's good.
You've seen a lot of the privacy fences that are on a corner, a real. well, If it stays at 5 foot or 6 foot, somebody coming up to the corner can't see past it to make sure there's nothing coming. And yours is not really in that situation. You don't have a main road there.
It's also just awkward for the neighbor.
Yeah.
I mean, right. Yeah, your case is a little different. So I feel okay here.
Yeah.
Especially with your big setback that you have, this big, we'll call it natural area between the street. It's when it's closer than that. So I'd say we approve as submitted.
I'll second.
Okay, I'll answer for me. Tim,
Yes.
Nancy Jean,
Yes.
Jane,
yes,
and I say yes. So
All right.
beautiful house too, by the way.
It does. It looks great.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
our next project is 210 East Richardson.
The applicant is looking to make a few changes to the front of the house, renovation, including a screened porch and stoop. The alterations are fairly minor, but they fall under the BAR, having to be approved by the BAR. Prior to issuance of the permit, the applicant will need to clarify the style of windows and provide a spec sheet. But other than that, it is zoning compliant and there's no issues there.
So hello, I'm Karen Healy. My husband Jim is supporting in the back, and my architect Kirsten Abrahamson is actually going to be the expert discussing this. Do you want me to just do an overview of what we're, okay. So the big thing is this house was built in 1933. It's a number 5 non-contributory. And it was a duplex. It was opened up at some time interior wise in the 80s, and it's been a single family home since then. So the main thing is to, first of all, remove, you might want to go to the original right there. So there are 2 front doors. We're going to eliminate the front door on the left and make that a matching window. So it'll be symmetrical on both sides. And then we decided to, it's that dated iron railings, change it, add more substantial visually substantial posts, columns. And then since we've been before this group before about an addition on the back of the house and then my studio, we're going to use the same gable design. So I don't know if you want to switch to the new one and then the expert can talk. So adding some gables that match the back of the house, my studio, and then changing the screen porch. It had a bunch of 2x4
Dividers with screen.
very close together. It's a very shallow little porch. It's like 3.5 feet by 14. So that's basically it. And Kirsten can talk to you more specifically. In terms of the window question, a precedent was mentioned. We're just using the same windows that we used on the back and in the studio and that are on the rest of the house. So technically they are.
There are no divided lights on the house presently. So those simulated divided lights need to be presented for permit or for otherwise.
Oh, so we are adding iron railings. You can see the railings. The post would be white. There's a sample, color samples in there. There's the board and batten. There's the back of the house that we did before. There's the studio that we did before. There's a sample of someone else's iron railing. There's our brick, and then the two colors. The board and batten portion would be the gray. The columns would be the white.
And so the only brickwork that's being done is with the removal of the secondary door. There will be patching of the brick to match below. There'll be the double windows on the left side now, instead of the door and the window.
You're replacing all that ironwork and that we see here?
Yes, so we're taking all the existing ironwork that's there, and changing out the roof. So the porch floor and brick base will remain. And then we are replacing that with columns and a new roof system.
Sounds like an improvement.
Okay, so that's a door, another door to the left.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah,
It's hard to see because the blinds. are
Right,
down,
right.
it's all white.
I see that now, yeah. So you're gonna make that a window to match.
Yes, and right now the roof is a very, very shallow sloped roof.
Mhm.
And so we're replacing it with two gables, which won't affect the venting and the brickwork at the top of the existing gable. So we're and it's sort of stepping it down in scale and privatizing the portion of the porch on the left, which is fronts a bedroom, and then kind of opens it up to more of a public face on the right side. Maybe if you want to show the drawings, so there's new railing that would privatize that left side, and there won't be railing on the right side, which kind of opens it up more to a public face.
So
And
you're
Kirsten-
changing the almost flat roof that's on the
The
front
two
to,
gables.
to two gables. That's better for lots of reasons.
Yeah. And so the railing, we've added a railing on the drive side of the house to complement it, so that if you're looking at drawing number 1 at the base there, that left side railing is actually set back. There's a side entrance on the house, and you can see that on elevation number 3.
And then it's in the photos.
Yeah.
I think it's a handsome change. I think it looks great. The rails or the railings, the only thing that kind of sticks out to me is like just not completely understanding the inner rectangle. And like the picture you showed just showed the X rails. The X rails are kind of a semi-traditional kind of thing around Somerville and other old houses. And this is not an old house, so that doesn't apply, but it's still, a modern thing. What's the point of the inside?
Well,
rectangle?
those railings are going to be so thin, you're going to barely see them. So the lines that you're picking up on the drawings are
So
much
heavy, yes.
thicker and heavier
Right.
than these will be. These are probably going to be 1/4 of an inch thin in their metal frame. So they're really going to be almost disappear. And the example that, the photo that's in there is a good example. I would say you could look at my house, Tim, and
Mhm.
I have those
The
squares.
inner rail.
Yeah, it's more of like a herring. There is a precedent for it, in a wood version, not
Version,
necessarily metal.
Is that on the front of the
speak-
house?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I have,
Mhm.
yeah, and structurally, I mean,
That's 8 feet.
it's a big span, so it does sort of give some added support. And I think if you can go to the photo of the railing that was included and at least get the sense of how sort of,
Yeah.
like
it's-
you're really just not going to,
Yeah.
it's not going to read as strongly.
And I guess my question is, why don't you make them just like these? Because actually, I think looks pretty good,
We need to check with the fabricator.
Yeah.
As we said, it's 8 feet
right?
on the porch. Structurally, integrity wise, if that X would work. go
I
across
don't
8
think
feet.
that inner, because there's no vertical support there, so I
Yeah.
don't think that.
I mean, I just felt like it gave sort of a placemaking.
I realize it's
sort-
heavier than the reality, and the
Yeah, in
drawing
the
is heavier
drawing.
than
Yeah.
the reality
Yeah.
would be.
Yeah. I mean, I think we could find precedent, but,
Yeah. and
we
this-
haven't tried.
This sample is from Opelika. It's
Yeah.
not even from here.
yeah.
If you could scroll down too and show all the houses, you all crop the photo, but I intentionally put this in here so you can see there's that side stoop with the railing. But
So
can
did
you
you go back up?
right
Yeah.
there? So you can kind of see the whole neighborhood. Michael Knight's house is on the
Yeah.
corner. Then, Debbie and Frank live in the yellow house. That was Diane Frankenberger's house, and then our house. So they kind of get smaller as they go along, as they go down the street.
And we,
You can't see the black rail there. at
right,
all.
there's also so much, greenery around that privatizing it. So it's, I think it's really going to disappear any way it is, but
Really?
It's
it's up
interesting
to
that
you.
that's a sticking
Yeah.
point for you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it looks great. I think the design looks good. I think it'll be a big enhancement. So that's my only observation, but if my other board members feel like they like it, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a surprise.
Yeah.
We always try to guess what you're gonna be.
Yeah. I don't have the huge hang up on it. It's not like I would not approve it because of it. So it was more of just a question. If you feel adamant about it, that's one thing. If you were kind of like, we thought about this, we thought about the X's, we don't really care. So
House. What do others?
Yeah, I'm okay with it as you have it. I understand,
Yeah.
what Tim's saying. And if you find out that maybe you would just want the X without the box in there, I don't know how to describe
yeah,
it, but
that's a good.
you can think about it.
Hey, Kirsten's point, though, it mimics a lot of the wooden railings. And I did not want a wooden railing because it is so lovely that it is so open.
Mhm.
And wood is visually thicker and heavier. So that's kind of why we went to the.
And there's no railing required
Right,
code wise.
not a code.
Mhm.
So it's really just this play off of public-private
Yeah.
aspect, as is the roof.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I think the whole thing though is gonna look really nice, the changes you're gonna make.
I think that the gable being changed going to really improve the look of the house. That's nice.
In the window instead of the door.
Yeah, won't
other
that be nice? It's a really drafty, leaky door.
Mhm. Not a big deal to me.
Your turn. All right. I'll say we approve it with these changes. Or as submitted,
As
rather.
submitted.
I'll second.
Please answer for me. Tim,
Yes.
Nancy Jean,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
and I'll say yes.
Yippee.
All right, good luck, guys.
Hopefully I won't
You
be
as well.
back this or third.
No, so I'll reach out tomorrow and I'll send you copies. And then I'll take a look and see if there's anything required as far as BAR.
Okay.
So related to the windows issue.
It's not like the window. That could have been the second report up. I wasn't even aware that was in there.
Okay.
So I'll talk to her tomorrow. I think as far as we're concerned here.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good luck. Bye.
The next one is 408 Sumter.
The applicant is requesting to demolish an existing garage on the property and replace it with a new one. The initial submittal included a sort of carport structure on the side of it. I think the applicant's been made aware that that portion of the structure would not be permitted since it's a legal non-conforming use as it is, and it can't be expanded upon. So the latest, after talking with Mr. Mike Taylor, I believe they're going to omit the carport portion and keep the new garage that they're planning to build on the existing footprint.
One
Hello,
question,
Jason.
being as we do have demolition, is there anybody that had any comments on their demolition?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
No.
It's a small structure in the back of the property. It's not even visible from the road. But we do plan to make it, match the house. Even the gingerbreading on the eaves will match the back of the house. It's gonna have some open rafter tails, board and batten design. Colors will match. Also with the carriage style garage doors. To kind of fit the bill there. Metal stand and seam roof.
I'm going to ask you, I'm hard of hearing and I need you to put the microphone up. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, is that better?
Yes,
Oh,
thank you.
Any questions or?
I think it's a good looking shed, so I don't have any questions.
Windows are true divided light.
Thank you for giving us real plans.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anybody? All right, I'll make a motion that we accept as submitted with the omission of the carport as noted by the staff.
Okay, is that a final?
I'll second.
Please answer for me, Tim,
Yes.
Nancy, Jean,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
and mine is yes.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. Good luck.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I actually like the shed better.
The old one.
Well, no, the shed that they can't, the carport that they can't build.
Anybody have anything else?
Move to adjourn?
Okay, we got another meeting coming up in almost a couple of weeks.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
All right.
See y'all. See
I'll
y'all.
make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay.
And I'll second that.
All right.
Stand up and move out.
Ready? We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Is that house on Sumter the one that